Quite a beautiful afternoon. Sitting here with sleeping lioness. Right there. The only way we find it is because of the alarm call from Impala. And there is a water hole in the background, so we believe that it's just on the eastern side, not far from the camp itself. It's probably the Impala were trying to drink or trying to make their way down to the water hole using one of these game pathway around here. So I believe that's how she brought her head and they're able to spot her, because otherwise there's no way that she could get spotted right easy like that way. Could happen maybe the rest of the pride, it's around. But yeah, they normally do that. Sometimes they're all just going to walk down to drink, leave the bride behind. So we're going to leave her now, look for something else, see what we're going to find again.
Here we've found some elephants. Very energetic elephants, I must say. They've been doing quite a jig coming down towards these combretums. Hi everyone, it's me, TRISHALA, and I have Theo on camera this afternoon in Djuma Game Reserve. It's quite humid. Apparently it's 36 degrees Celsius and 96 degrees Fahrenheit, but it feels slightly cooler than that. But a little bit earlier it was warmer, but very, very heavy, very humid. And I think we can expect some cooler weather as well as some rain these next few days, if we're lucky. Oh, we've been sitting with these elephants since about 15-20 minutes now. All very happy with us, comfortable with our presence. Oh, he has a feat of strength. She'll dig and dig with that foot until she loosens the roots enough for her to pull it off, or maybe even pull out roots so she doesn't have to pull the whole tree out of the ground. Roots are juicy, and elephants like juiciness. You can see her kicking up the sand there. Stereo love, you say, oh no, they're destroying the trees. They are destroying the trees, but they're creating homes and habitats for small mammals. They're actually assisting, or in some ways keeping, the grassland woodland fight that is constantly happening around us. There's a massive battle going on right now between the grasses and the trees. One wants to take over, fighting, and herbivores keep these things in check. Elephants are taking down trees. Wow, look at that. And that's managing the woodland from taking over, as well as other browsers who are doing the same thing. It's keeping on to cropping leaves and therefore taking away some area for them to photosynthesize with, constantly keeping the woodland in check. And then the grazers are constantly keeping the grasses in check. It's a fine dynamic that has gone on for thousands of years. And while they are most certainly damaging a tree, and this tree is essentially dead now, it's been pulled out, root is even off of it, it's part of this fine, very fine dynamic that allows little mammals to find places to hide. It releases any of those insects, allows them to be disturbed and emerge for the starlings. So you were absolutely right, Stereo Love. They are destroying the trees. But it is not a negative thing. If there's a high density of elephants in one space, and the carrying capacity of that particular space is now or is rather being exceeded by the number of elephants, then what's going to end up happening is that all will lose that woodland grassland battle, and grassland it takes over. And then the elephants don't have some of the tasty food that they want. It's such a delicate cycle, and I enjoy it very much. And the more you're out here, the more you realize that there's not good and bad. There's kind of good, kind of bad, and everything in between. Oh, there's something very, very tasty in that particular spot. Oh, here comes a very, very large. Let's have a look there. Oh, very large cow. She is massive. You can see that she's actually got a calf in tow there. Oh, she's going to come break up this little gathering. Hi. Hello, you guys. They're too cute. Little youngster looks very, very cultured. I wonder if it's trying to do a balancing act for holding those. Oh, never mind. Or maybe it tried. It's just not very good at it just yet. So this youngster is about 3. I would put that. Those tusks are sticking out quite nicely. Maybe even 4. Ah, there's another little baby. Just a little bit tinier than the one we were seeing here. Hi, Isabella, all the way from Cape Town. You'd like to know, what does an elephant eat, rather? In a day, an elephant can eat anything from 100 to 300 kgs of food. That is a lot. Very, very, very much. And that's why they constantly have to eat. You don't ever see an elephant not eating. Unless they decide that they want to sleep. And even that is very, very brief. There's some really impressive cows in this herd. Look how large she is. That's not a very large herd, but they certainly are very relaxed and a great way to start the afternoon.
Good afternoon to all our viewers, and welcome to andBeyond Ngala, where we have just seen some dwarf mongooses. There we go. Still see one. You can see a very, very nervous little creature. In the direction that it's moving, that's where the other mongooses were. And as we arrived, there was one sitting on the termite mound, and the rest of them scattered off into the bushes behind it. There we go, there's some more. Now they're starting to come out again. It's almost as if that one had a look around, checked, see that everything was okay, there's no danger, and then the rest came back out. And now they're busy looking for some insects. Now, I'm JAPIE, and behind the camera we have Gert, and we are still looking for any signs of wild dogs this afternoon. We were hoping that we might pick up on some signs in this particular area. And then we came across these little guys. You can see it's just staring in our direction. The one at the back's also got its head up. It's looking in a different direction. And we're right on the edge of a very large clearing. So, and it's not too far from the riverbed. There's a lot of termite mounds in this area. Good. And they are busy looking for some insects that might be somewhere in and amongst the taller grasses. I know it. They move. All right. I think for now we're going to leave these little guys and we're going to continue along. We're going to drop into the riverbed and head towards... We had some wild dog tracks back there. It's not very clear tracks at the moment. It looks like one or two individuals that ran through this area this morning. And hopefully we might get to find the pack. So in this area, like this large clearing that we are driving in, there is lots of small groups of impala scattered throughout. So this would be the perfect area for them to hunt later this afternoon.
And welcome back to the mast. This is what I just saw. It happened without anybody noticing, neither I or James. It happened without us noticing. The crocodiles killed that zebra, but they seem not to be very interested in eating it. They're playing with it. They've been diving, biting it and pulling it up. See that? That's what they've been doing. I don't know if that one is going to get hold of it and then eat it, but they've been playing with the zebra. It's rather sad, but this is what happened. It's a cycle of life. These predators have to eat, and thinking about how they wait for up to 1 year for a good meal, they deserve it. They also do keep the numbers in check, so mind that. Yeah, let's see what's going to happen here. Looks like that one is swimming with the kill upstream. Just imagine the power there, the weight of the carcass plus the carrot, and it's just swimming with it with ease upstream. Unbelievable. This is how strong they are, these guys. Super predators, the lords of the waters of Africa. Where is he going? Where is he taking it? Looks like he's taking it somewhere. He's heading away from everybody. Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but it looks like he has said it belongs to me. All of you were letting it float down. Now I'm gonna, stash it for myself or eat it for myself. Let's see what's going to happen. Where are you going? Looks like a medium-sized zebra. Holding on to it. Yes, it is. Swimming, it's heading it's a long way down. We cannot see that far. Let's go back to the crossing, and here are the ones that didn't go across. They are starting to think of when they're going to cross. Now that they have seen that carcass, that zebra die, and it's being washed downstream, it might take a little bit longer. Yes, thank you for that comment. It's a cycle of life. Looks like there's a very courageous zebra there. Is he gonna go? Yeah, it's going. Are you gonna go? It's very deep there. Are you gonna go? Are you gonna go? Are you gonna go? Yes, it's gone. There we go. We have it once more, guys. That's the first zebra of the second crossing. Is it gonna make it? There's two. Look at the two crocodiles. My God, they're like submarines. Oh, look at that. Oh, it's gone. Hey, come on, go girl, go girl. She's going. I think she's gonna make it. She's gonna make it. Oh, around the corner. I don't know what happened, but I think she made it. Is there another one gonna go? No, there's too many crocodiles now. Yeah, it did make it. I'm sure it made it because we're gonna show you the crocodiles are heading back. Okay, here we go. Another one just jumped in. Oh, they're really going in, very smoothly. They're not diving like they normally do. Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna make it now. There are the crocodiles. It looks like it's counter-attacking it from the side, flanking it. Well, I don't know what's gonna happen. I just wanna okay, anyone more? Yeah, look at this, nobody wants to go because they have seen what's just happened there. The two escaped and everybody is thinking twice about going across. This is live, guys. This is coming from the Masai Mara and this is the Mara River. Emily, thank you for your question. You ask, if, I don't know if they hatch their eggs on land or in water. Was it the eggs? I think if it's eggs, yes, they hatch them on land. Oh, sorry, if they eat their kills on land. No. What happens is they need one has to grab on one side to act like an anchor so the other ones can do the death roll and rip off a big chunk of meat. Remember, they lack tongues, so they cannot chew or cut. They are meant, their jaws and teeth are meant for ripping and cutting, so they help each other by clamping from one side and then they do the death roll. They won't be able to do that on land, and I've never seen it. They only eat in the water, and surprisingly when they're feeding they have this flap inside the mouth called the gula flap that stops the water from going in, so they don't end before swallowing. Okay, let's go back to the crossing. Are they gonna go? Yes, this is all through experience. When you see them standing there, those are adult males or mares and stallions, and maybe they have gone through this river a few times, so they know what's all about the river. They know it's dangerous. They just don't jump in, and they can see the crocodiles. Look at the crocodile, just below there. He's repositioning. That's a giveaway, and if they see him, they might not come down there unless that herd heads out, and then a few that haven't seen him come down, then they will cross. But there is alternative cross. If they do decide to cross, they don't have to come down there. This is amazing, guys. It's all been happening since we started. I'm loving it. I hope you're doing the same. Yes, a few wildebeest left behind there. Yeah, discussion. Are we gonna go today? Is it now? Is it later? What do you think? Yeah, the river is still roaring. Do we have a crocodile here? Yeah, I think this one has had enough to eat and doesn't want to be bothered, so it has come quite far from where they're crossing, just to easily maybe digest and enjoy the last minute sun before the sun goes down. You hear the hippos? Looks like they have decided to stop there and have a serious discussion. Yeah. And the hippos are also discussing and saying they stopped crossing. I think they're gonna go back so we can sleep a little bit more. Yeah, usually. Yeah, I think the hippos are happy also when they don't come through where they are, because usually they would like to rest a little bit more before going out. I'm gonna stay here. If it happens, don't you worry.
Welcome back to andBeyond, Phinda. Myself and Craig are doing our best to keep up with these lionesses. They started to walk from where they tried to hunt that Ngala, and the way they're walking with a very kind of single-minded determination, heading pretty much in a straight line. It seems like they're maybe going back towards where they've left those cubs. They're about to cross in front of us. I'm just going to sit still for a sec. I've been doing quite a bit of pushing through the guarri thickets and the different thorn bushes to try and keep up with them. Of course, they move completely effortlessly through here. And now if we're going to keep up with them, we're going to have to push through this next little patch of bush. So please watch out overhead, watch out for the thorns. Here we go, hold tight. Watch out here. There you go, the lionesses. So they no doubt would have left those cubs somewhere sheltered, maybe in a little ravine. Christian FC is saying someone just got poked in the eye with a thorn. I did warn you. I did say watch out for the thorns. But there go the lionesses. There's one if those lionesses didn't leave their little cubs in there. Watch out here again on the left. There we go. Oh, they just keep throwing more and more guarri bushes at us. Watch out for the rocks. But even as they're walking like this, they'll still be on the lookout constantly for any signs of potential prey. Again, we're in very dense bush around us here. Lots of antelope like a Ngala, maybe even some warthogs that are coming off the open plain to our left, maybe coming back in here to look for their burrows. There you go, the lionesses. We've just got to keep up with them for a few more meters. The bush is going to open up a little bit. And then it should be much easier. Oh. Of course, sometimes they can go through a bush and we've got to go around. Chevy Ngala, you say you dropped your camera, we got to go back. Wait, we're going to have to go and see where these lionesses are going, and then we'll backtrack and we'll go fetch your camera. Oh, now things are going to get hectic. It looks like there's a solid wall of guarri bushes in front of us, so we'll have to very delicately pick our way through here. Luckily, again, hold tight everybody, watch out here on the left. There's no thorns, but yeah, rather don't grab the bush. Apparently everyone's going to get off the vehicle. They've had enough of my driving. We're going to try and catch up with these lions.
We're still with this herd. They've just been so wonderful and peaceful. I thought we'd spend a little more time with them. But they're slowly moving east. You can see this is quite a large cow moving on the road. You get a really nice perspective of their size there. I suspect she may be pregnant because she's poking out the sides quite a bit, don't you think? Like she swallowed a huge egg. You can see how the curve on her back has become deeper as the weight of pregnancy pulls down and on her spine. We can move a little bit forward so we get a good view of that one on that side there too. Oh look, we have some Ngalas as well. I love watching elephants interact with other species. Because you never know if they're just going to leave them be or they're going to decide they want to chase them. Let's stop here and see how this unfolds. Oh, cute. Janine, you'd like to know how many an elephant has in its lifetime? An elephant will actually have 28 teeth. So that's 2 tushes, which are the precursors to a tusk, when they're young, and those get reabsorbed and offer direction to the tusk when the tusk actually starts to grow. Have 2 tusks. And then they have 6 sets of molars for each jaw. So that's 4 times 6. So you got 24 plus 2 tusks and 2 tushes. So 28 all together. Tushes are kind of considered, in a way, milk teeth or baby teeth, in that they're not present in the adult and they only offer direction to the tusks that are permanent. And massive teeth. The teeth obviously get bigger as the animal gets older and the mouth gets larger. So sweet. And they can end up the size of a brick. You imagine a normal house brick. They are huge. And these teeth actually push forward from the back of the jaw as opposed to erupting from the bottom like ours do. Off they go. It really is a wonderful afternoon when you can spend it with elephants. Let's go a little bit forward again once this one moves out of view. There was a question there about how long the elephant will be pregnant. From Thug. Hey Thug. You wanted to know how long that pregnancy will last. It lasts 22 months. Pregnant for almost 2 years. Can you imagine that? It is the longest mammalian pregnancy. Let's maybe just go a little bit more forward. And pregnancy is very taxing on the body, so it's very difficult. In fact, the longer you're pregnant for, the more dangerous it becomes. Oh, here we go. This is nice. The more dangerous it becomes, the more the requirement becomes even more demanding. You, as the mother that's carrying this child, the amount of stress it puts on the body is quite intense. But there's a reason that we all exist, and that's because pregnancies. And with an elephant, they have multiple powerhouses within their uterus that assist them in this long pregnancy. Many corpus lutea. HH, you'd like to know where elephants go to give birth? Elephants will give birth in the herd. So remember, this herd is only females and their offspring. So there are no males here apart from young males that are offspring. If there are some problematic youngsters in this herd that are going to be kicked out, maybe they're 12 years old to 15 years old and they're problematic, she may find an area of seclusion, but she finds safety in the herd. So she will prefer to be within the herd where she's safe and protected at a point where she is very vulnerable, and she will give birth in that kind of setting. Sometimes young males can be quite, I think for me they're probably the most disruptive if you will. They're the ones that will charge at the vehicle, and they're not very serious, but they'll still do it, and they'll try their luck quite a bit. And none of the females giving birth wants that kind of interference. In such a vulnerable time. I think by far for me the most dangerous time for you to be around an elephant, or also the most dangerous type, would be a female who feels threatened not just towards herself but towards her calf, because then she means business. This is not just about threat. She needs to protect her calf. And if a pregnant female has given stillbirth, then you are in trouble, because she will be raging, and anything that comes close is basically going to be flattened. And unfortunately, many ranges have been killed that way.
And we were still busy looking for the wild dogs. And we went through this area where we are now, and this morning we came to have a look for these lions, and they have moved from the last position that they were in, and we couldn't see them at all. We couldn't find them, didn't see anything from the road. And then just now Gert spotted one as he turned around. And just have a look at that. Not much going on. It's quite humid and hot in the Lowveld today. I think that's precisely why these lions are doing as little as possible. And you can see some grooming going on there. He looks like he's full of blood, and a couple of others are also showing signs on their chest, on their shoulders, that they have eaten something. So I think myself and Gert will sit here for a little while longer, see what they do.
From the Birmingham Pride of Lions at andBeyond in Ngala to the Mountain Pride of Lions here at andBeyond Phinda, myself and Craig, thanks to one of the game drive vehicles, have managed to catch up with the lionesses at last. And look at the terrain now, much more open, like I was saying earlier. And just off to the left and out of shot, there is apparently a zebra. I didn't see it. Craig spotted it. Initially relatively interested in it, but it seems that now she's relaxed a little bit again. See how her ears have kind of facing backwards and her body posture has drooped a little bit. The second lioness there behind her, which is for the time being a little bit obscured by that thorn bush, she still seems to be looking quite intently in the direction of that zebra. Look at how she's now looking around herself, trying to find the best cover to use in her approach. And once again, the lionesses find themselves, the wind is blowing. Everyone's saying they look serious. They do look very serious. They've got serious business on their mind, having to try and catch something to eat, to not only feed themselves, but feed And that second lioness at the back, she looks like she's... Oh no, she's lying down. Never mind. I thought I was about to say. She looks ready to get up and go to start stalking. And it seems like the zebra is moving. I can't... Oh, there it is, quite far away. Yeah, it's quite a way away, but look at how that lioness, as soon as that zebra started to move, it was concealed behind a bush and it just moved a little bit, and she immediately lowered her head and her neck and pricked her ears forward. But that zebra is, pretty far away, nowhere near as close as that Ngala was to her a little bit earlier. Probably a good 200 meters or so away from this lioness. So I don't think something that's going to be immediately exciting or immediately enticing for them to try and hunt. Myself and Craig are going to spend a bit more time with these lions, and we're going to see if they continue walking, maybe to go try and find their little cubs, or maybe to carry on hunting.
Well, hunting may take time, just as these zebras may take time to cross the river. Every hunter will have to put some factors in. Same case will happen to these zebras here. They'll have to put some considerations before they commit themselves to crossing the river. Now, earlier with Isaac, we saw some crossing. So I thought I'll take over from Isaac and maybe chance and find out how lucky it will be. Now, if you look carefully there, we have numbers of them growing. Helen Shirley, were you asking if the animals will cross and cross again? Well, we have seen these animals coming, like where you see them right there. They'll come, 2 hours later, cross right back. Now, what makes them do that, we have really not been able to understand, but we usually have our own, notions and thoughts of the possibilities of them behaving that way. And we always think either maybe they do not get enough food, the direction they go, or when they cross the river, or they feel they are more threatened or they are more vulnerable to predators on the other side. And they're like, we are better off where we were. Let's cross back to where we came from. Many times we have seen the two species together, the zebras and wildebeest, coming to cross the river, but the biggest courage in general comes from the zebras going in first. So I'm going to wait and see who takes the first chance.
Welcome back. Have a look at this lioness. She stood up again. And she's starting to stalk, and it doesn't seem like she's looking in the exact direction that zebra was. And the second lioness has stood up, and exactly like happened earlier with those Ngala, the second lioness has looped around behind this lioness. It's almost as if they're again forming that pincer movement to go around and encircle whatever they've detected. No doubt with the intent of one lioness driving the prey towards the other, laying an ambush, so to speak. Now, she's still looking in the direction of where those zebra are, but I wonder if there's not something, maybe an Ngala that's concealed in one of these bushes, hiding from the chilly wind, or even a warthog on its way back to its burrow for the evening. But there's definitely... It may be the zebra, but the way that the intent that they were showing, it didn't seem like it was the zebra. But now look at this lioness sitting down. Again, this is the older of the two lionesses, the more experienced of the two hunters. Once again, no doubt knowing that patience is going to be important if they are to be successful here. And they'll definitely come walking towards them. The wind is blowing pretty much from the zebra towards these lionesses, so the wind is in their favor. And again, there's that very serious look on her face with her ears pricked forward. It always amazes me in these scenarios, like what happened earlier with that second lioness, how she looped around and how we thought that we knew where she was. But it turned out that we had no clue. She came out from a completely different area to where we thought she'd gone. Look at how she's gazing across now. Perhaps looking for her companion, looking for the other lioness to keep tabs on where she is. Oh, and there's a bit of a yawn. Obviously, this hunting opportunity not that exciting for her. Amazing to watch these cycles, though, going through these lionesses. They go through these, they watch their potential prey make a certain move, and it gets them really excited. It gets their body posture tensed up, their ears pricked forward. They start to stalk, and then in the next moment, the prey does something. Maybe it looks towards them or moves in a certain direction, and the predators kind of relax a little bit and look a little bit less interested. And once again, she's lying down. Myself and Craig, though, are going to stick here for a bit, and we're going to see what unfolds.
And myself and Gert have been sitting here to see what's unfolding, but the only thing we're seeing folding here is this lion's tongue. He's been licking his lips the whole time. He was licking his chest, where there's still quite a bit of blood on, dried blood. And put his head completely back to try and reach those difficult to reach parts. But his head's up and he's looking around. You can see he's pestered by a few flies. Ooh, and a sneeze. He's been looking around at all the vultures. There's a lot of vultures around this area, as well as some tawny eagles. And I'm not sure, although we haven't seen any sign of a carcass here, I'm not sure if maybe whatever they ate was around this area. Doesn't look like it was something big. Some of them don't even have blood on them, or their stomachs show any sign that they've eaten. But it is quite strange to see this young male with his head up and all the rest flat. Normally he's one of the ones that sit or that sleep and usually head down, where the other ones are usually the ones moving around. You can see he's got his attention fixed on something there. Now he's looking in the direction of you can see by the way that one in front of him's laying is not too much excitement going on. Giraffe girl, is there no coalition partner for the young male? That is because, unfortunately for him, all his brothers and most of his sisters that he had when he was a young lion, unfortunately didn't make it to this age. Most of them didn't even survive to their second year. And him and his sister, they're the only two that survived out of what was initially 11 and then quickly 9. And those 9 together we saw for a while, and eventually him and his sister was the only 2 that survived. It was quite a harsh year. It was also during a hectic drought in this area, and the lionesses struggled to get enough food to constantly keep them in those years. So unfortunately it's just a lion's life. It makes it difficult for him because at this point he's more than likely still with this pride because of that. Like normally if there's a few young males, like 2 or 3 even, then you find that by now they probably would have moved off and start looking for their own territory. But because he's used to the pride and because he is on his own and a social animal, I think he's sticking around. It's also easier for food. He is quite large, so he does have that to his advantage. And I think maybe that's also part of the reason why he survived. Just because of the fact that he grew quickly, he was strong and healthy. I do remember during those times some of the cubs also suffered from mange, and I don't know how that directly affected the mortality rate within that group of cubs, but I'm sure and a more serious effect than we realized at the time.
We have managed to find a young lioness. I believe it's Lagatha, although it's a bit of a distance and I actually haven't had a chance to look with my binoculars yet. Can only assume it must be Lagatha here at Leopard Dam. What a beautiful sight. Absolutely spectacular. So glad that I've arrived back and she's come to join us. Hi, I'm Mike, and you're joining... Oh, and Seb is behind the camera, of course. And you're joining us here at Ecotraining's Pridelands Conservancy. And as Pridelands is living up to its name once again with this lioness just sitting right there on that termite mound, which is spectacular. This is Leopard Dam. As you can see, it's quite low with water, but it's been very hot today. Very, very hot. And a lot of animals have been coming down to the water holes, and this is why I think this lioness is waiting at the edge of the water. She's very relaxed right now, but from up there she'll have a good might come down to the water. There was some impala a bit earlier, and then she can get some good hunting opportunities. She doesn't look like she's eaten something recently. Can you see how her belly is not making a nice rounded mound behind her shoulders? So she's probably quite hungry, but she'll wait for a good opportunity to hunt. Oh, thanks everyone. It's great to be back. I'm glad to be back with you all. And I'm glad Lagatha has come to join us as well. You know what? When one is on leave, one must enjoy the sun. I didn't go anywhere. I stayed right here in the Lowveld. I didn't want to leave too far from Pridelands because it's such a spectacular place. I did not hit a beach, unfortunately, although I'd love to. I guess Leopard Dam will have to do. It's not quite as sandy as I'd like. But hey, we can also mud. Mudding is good for the skin. But this lioness is in full relax mode, as you can see. Not even the ears twitching. She is just waiting for it to get a bit cooler. I think it's very hot and humid. Once it gets a bit cooler, she might lift her head and start actively looking for something to eat.
This lioness has just stood up, everybody, and she seems to be trotting into the bush. We had a brief glimpse of the second lion moving almost exactly where this lioness has now gone. But I don't know if it was a response to seeing the other lioness that encouraged this one to get up and move, or if she maybe spotted something else in there, maybe an Ngala. But we don't want to go rushing in there just yet, everybody, in case there's the other lioness. They've definitely seen something. They're looking very intently through that thick bush. We're not going to be able to move for now, everybody. We're not going to be able to move. I don't know what's going on in there. 1 minute it looks like she's hunting, and then it looks like she's playing. We're just going to have to hang tight for a few minutes, just in case there is a hunt going on there. We don't want to disturb the balance between predator and prey. If we drive in there, crashing around with the vehicle could alert the prey prematurely to the lion, or vice versa. We want to let this play out in as natural a way as possible. So we're going to give it a few minutes. If nothing happens, then, or if we can see the lions that realize that they're not hunting anymore based on their body language, then we'll head back in. But yeah, Craig has done a fantastic job of managing to get you just a bit of a glimpse of what appears to be her hide through that very thick green bush. Yeah, so we've at least got a glimpse of, or a semblance of a view of one of the lions, so we can at least keep track of them while they are moving around here. I'd just be able to make out that a dash of orange, not quite in the center of your screen, but kind of midway between the top and the bottom, and slightly off-centered to the right. Amazing how she disappears into the thicket like that. Maruth, you're asking about the speed of a lion. Well, Maruth, they can run for short distances at up to about 60 kilometers an hour, and a bit like just like a sprinter, it will be a burst of speed. They'll accelerate very quickly to get up to that top speed, using those massive, powerful muscles of theirs. But they can't maintain it for very long. That's why they want to get as close as possible to their prey. And this is again just so tense, us sitting here having to, not really knowing what's going on there in the bush. But again, as I said, we're just having to leave these lions to their hunting, and just monitor that thicket there as carefully as possible. I've got my binoculars out. I'm looking very carefully to see if I can get an idea for if they have spotted something else in that thicket. But it's definitely not that original group of zebra now that we're looking at. That herd of zebra is way off to our left and still at a similar distance away. Once again, these lionesses have put my heart in my throat. And from here we'll be listening out for the sounds of perhaps hooves thudding on the ground or bushes crashing. If the lions are successful, there'll be more than likely be a distress call. If it's a warthog, it'll be obviously a loud squeal. If it's an antelope, like an Ngala, it'll be a kind of a roaring bark. And if there's a very, very, very long silence, then it might be that the lions have continued moving through that thicket and have left us all behind. But we're being patient, lying in the long grass. So myself and Craig are going to watch very carefully, and if we see any movement, we'll be sure to let you know.
There's absolutely no movement happening here with our lioness. She is, we were just discussing, Seb and I, how warm it is tonight. It really feels like it might rain tonight. It looks like it might get super windy later on. And so she's just taking the moment now to rest and relax, because I'm sure animals are very intuitive. I'm sure she knows. She's probably felt this before. She can sense things that maybe good hunting opportunities are going to come tonight when it's dark, and maybe then she'll get much more active. But, at the moment, it's a perfect place for her to rest. I know for our eyes, it's a very bright object, right? And we know there's a lioness there. But for an animal approaching from the left of where this lioness is, along the edge of the dam, you'll see how dark this lioness's back is. She'll be very, very well camouflaged to the termite mound she's sitting on. So it'll mean that probably animals won't be able to spot her. And there's not a breath of wind right now. There's hardly anything. And so she'll also know her scent won't be transferred to rest. Amy, aged 11, you've asked a very interesting question about whether if there's an old lion and it dies, would other lions eat it? I think it was would other lions eat it? You know what? I think they would. I don't know that I've ever seen lions eat another lion, but I know they definitely do. And so definitely when there's a territorial fight, maybe two big male lions fighting, one dies of their injuries or maybe gets killed, sometimes they'll eat them, surely. You can't waste, energy, good food. I don't think a lion tastes particularly good, but the energy is there, and, the lion's energy from its meat will go into the new lion, and then the bones and whatever's left will degrade into the soil, and so there's this whole cycle that happens. So certainly they will do it. Oh, a quick link. There's a lion stalking at Phinda.
One of the lionesses has just come back out into the open, everyone. And look at how thick that bush is that she's in there. That's why we couldn't see them earlier. There's a small little window that she's moved into where, just by chance, we haven't moved. Just by luck, she's in this gap where we can see her. And look at how focused she is. Look at how those ears are both pricked forward. And watch how careful her movements are now. Like we guessed earlier, there's something else here. It's not those zebra that they're hunting. There's something else in this thicket here. And based on how thick that bush is there, probably some kind of antelope like an Ngala sheltering from the wind in there. And she'll be wanting to be as careful as she can. Any false move here could blow the hunt for them. She'll want to put her paws down very carefully so that she doesn't break any twigs or step on any dry leaves. She'll be watching her prey very carefully. Notice how she stood still for a long time and then took a few little steps forward. So whenever her prey looks away from her, when it puts its head down, she'll creep forward towards it. If it for some reason faces towards her, she'll stand still. Because out here in the bush, movement is often what attracts the eye. And so as long as that lioness stands dead still, there's a good chance that she'll remain undetected, even if she is in sight of her prey. But now this is still just the one lioness, so we still don't know where that second lioness is. She could be on the other side of that lioness, she could be between us and her. This is very tense, everybody. She's again gone behind a bush, and again we're all left to wonder what's going on. There she is out in the open again, coming now quite confidently around the side of the bush. Samantha, you say you've turned up the sound and you've moved closer to the screen. Samantha, I'm sure I'd be doing the same if I was watching this right now. So see how she was moving quite confidently there, relatively out in the open. And so obviously deciding there that she didn't need to move as slowly. She realized that she had good cover between herself and whatever it is that she's busy stalking. We might get a view of her now on the left-hand side of those thorn bushes. We're just going to have to sit tight and wait. And the wind is starting to die down. The grass is still moving. See how the grass is still moving a little bit? The breeze is much more gentle. And it even feels like it was initially blowing quite strongly into our faces. So from the potential prey to the lion, and it now almost feels like it's changing direction a little bit. It feels like there's little gusts coming from different sides. And again, we're left to wait. My heart is, as I said earlier, once again making its way rapidly in the direction of my larynx. Twice in one. Like I said, these lionesses are putting us on the edge of our seats. And just imagine for the lioness, we're feeling this nervous. I wonder how they feel. They must also be full of adrenaline. I suppose it's like for athletes going into a race, having that bit of adrenaline, but also having to remember to keep to their race plan or their game plan. I don't know if the same thought through lions' heads, but that, I suppose, is how it feels as we sit here and watch. Once again, seeing as we can't see these lions, for now, myself and Craig are going to keep watch, and once again, we'll let you know if anything develops here.
Here's another athlete, tree squirrel. Can you feel the intensity? Oh, it just blinked. I can't say I've seen a squirrel blink. Think about it. Have you seen it blink? Whenever we've seen them, it's always been quite intense. That was very sweet. Now, this squirrel has a mate, or at least a group mate, that is somewhere in this tree, which is why we stopped. We saw something scurry up a little hollow in the tree. Oh, 2 blinks, wow. And then this guy was sitting right at the top. So now I'm waiting to see what comes up, or comes out of that little hollow. Theo is going to get an extra chop this afternoon, or this evening for dinner. If he's correct, he said it was another squirrel, but all I saw was a flash of grey. Oh, is it going to go in? Is it going to go in? So that's the little hollow that the flash of grey went into. Much intensity, I feel like it's just going to start shouting. As usual. His face is looking a little bit intense. Go into your hollow. Little groups will live together in tree hollows. And that is where they'll also have their young. So it would be if we knew there was a little family living in here and saw little ones. Super, super intense, I know. Whenever I watch squirrels, I just think the intensity that these little things exude is phenomenal. So intense, but I think the intensity might be even more so elsewhere.
The older of the 2 lionesses has just come out into the open again, and she's now sitting, again with her ears put forward and looking very carefully. And it seems we were wrong. We, just based on how she was moving in that thicket, we were certain that there must be something else in that thicket that they were busy stalking, the way they were moving so carefully. But now where she's looking, she's again looking in the direction of that herd of zebra that is now rapidly moving up the hill in the distance. She's quite substantially between herself and that herd of zebra from where we first saw them, where initially they were maybe about 200 meters apart. They're now maybe... there's an alarm call. Can you hear that? There was almost like a donkey snorting sneeze kind of sound. I'm not very good at describing the sound, obviously. But what it is that it's a zebra alarm calling. So they've obviously somehow seen this lioness, or seen the second lioness. Whew. But she's still looking hopeful. You never know, there might still be something else there that hasn't detected her, or that hasn't heard or that doesn't heed the zebra's alarm calls. But just based on her body language now, see how it kind of slumped, and she turned away, and now she's walking back. Again, foiled. And again, we can breathe easy. So 2 attempted hunts this afternoon with these lionesses trying to hunt. And from here, I think myself and Craig are going to see if we can't keep up with these lionesses. If not, though, there's been a report of a female cheetah not too far from here. And we'll maybe go see if we can see what she's up to.
Well, lions are good. Cheetahs could be better. with me, a crossing would be the best thing to happen. Now, the whole of these zebras, the whole herd left the riverbank, and they kind of disappeared for like a whole 5 minutes. Then all of a sudden, they all came back running and chasing each other, and they stopped right at the edge of the river. No decision, no commitment, nothing agreed upon. But you can tell how difficult the decision is to cross these waters. From where we are, we can hear the rapids, but not sure whether the rapids are affecting them. I got a feeling, you see, like exactly where Bungay, who is on camera today showing you, that's where the rapids are. And I'm not sure whether this is distorting their plans and making them a little bit nervous, because I have never seen them like crossing at that point where it's going on. It's either upstream or downstream, away from that area. And definitely at that particular area, there's so many rocks. Now the head of this herd are the zebras, and you can see mid-tail towards the tail end are the wildebeests. A big number still coming, and I'm still very convinced we might be see a crossing. And of course, we've got other people on the other side of the river, hoping they are also going to witness this great spectacle. And what happens is, during the migration, to many people, including ourselves, the highlight is always crossing this dangerous river. They know how dangerous it is. The times you see small herds like this, keeping the same pace, the same momentum, all the way to the river and crossing to the other end without stopping. The times you see big numbers come, so close and stop. The zebras are going there. You'd like to know the most dangerous animal on the safari, and that one I will say without thinking. For me, it is the hippopotamus. The hippo, when I look at the casualties of people, happen to a guest, or happen to a guide, or happen to a game ranger, or happen to anybody, when you talk of human-wildlife conflict, to me, I would say the hippopotamus is the most dangerous animal on safari. Well, we have different theories, different feelings as guides out in the bush. We've got people also who believe that buffaloes are equally dangerous. But I would say hippopotamus are animals not to take chances with. You could either get them on foot, or sometimes should they feel threatened by you, they would come for you. What happens? The hippos, I would say, it's very difficult for us or for anybody to read their body language. Most animals, we have what you call trigger signs, and you can read the language of an animal by its behavior and maybe back up a little bit or get away from it completely. Hippos do not show any sign of being aggressive. They look very calm, and the next thing, they'll be on you. So it's rather difficult to tell, and that's why it's rather tricky to deal with the hippos and also the Cape buffaloes. They must have seen something. They all retreated at the same time and blew a bit of dust. Patience is key for me here, and I am going to stick here and wait.
So we're also sticking around and waiting at Leopard Dam, and we noticed something. All the red-billed buffalo weavers are starting to return to their nests, which they had mostly abandoned during the winter months just to feed and keep themselves healthy. But now that the spring is approaching, they seem to be ready to start renovating. And we watched a few of them actually plucking some twigs and moving them about. And these two here are just having an evening preen, cleaning themselves before they roost for the night. But it's interesting, earlier today, sested korhaan, which is a rather large ground bird that was doing its mating display or its courtship display, where it flew up into the air and closed its wings and plummeted down. So obviously the springtime is arriving and all the birds are now in that in that space where they want to start maybe mating, because all the good food is about to arrive as in the insects, and all the grass is about to start growing for the seeds. So it's really the perfect time for them to be mating and then laying the eggs, because in a month's time or so, there'll be hopefully a little bit of greenery around, and all the chicks can start to fend for themselves. I mean, I don't think they'll be laying eggs very soon, but maybe in a month's time or so. But there's our lioness still sitting underneath the shade of, well, not that there needs to be shade, it's very cloudy, but underneath that weeping boa bean. She's just shifted slightly. Another vehicle is coming to join us in the sighting, so she's just probably put her head up to listen to the vehicle as it approached, and now she's lying down again. But you can see nice and slender. No bony protrusions, still smooth muscle on her shoulders and on her hips. So it means she's been looking after herself. She's in good condition. She's just hungry, just keen for food. So, yeah, we're going to wait here and see what she gets up to. I mean, she looks like she's sleeping, but you can see that ear over there actually is held back against her head, which means she's listening in the opposite direction. She's listening to her. So although she looks like she's asleep, if any of us, like Seb, was to get out the car and go for a walk, or me, or an animal comes wandering past, this lioness will know about it immediately and be able to react accordingly, either to hunt if it's an animal for hunting, or to hide if it's something that she wants to hide from. It's pretty awesome. Ian, the weavers have still been around. They haven't left the area. They're not migrants, but they haven't been sitting on their nests and renovating their nests and building their nests. They've just been feeding. They'll roost up in trees during the night, but they'll move back and forth to feeding areas and just keep themselves healthy. They won't be on their nests particularly. We've seen them quite a few times in like big bird parties. Ian, we had about 20 buffalo weavers the other day amongst a whole bunch of quelea. They were all scratching around, which was very interesting. So I'm sure that we will start to seeing them doing a lot more nest building, though, which is quite awesome. Certainly haven't been around the water. There's some geese around the water, and there's other things as well. It's actually quite a lively afternoon for it being so warm and cloudy.
Myself and Craig are on our way to go and join the other vehicles with that female cheetah, and we've found 2 white rhinos along the way. And what a fantastic view of them. Look at them right out in the open. This one in front of us, seemingly quite curious. Look how its ears are pricked forward towards us. And curiosity satisfied. Turning away. And smelling the ground. That very wrinkly skin. And all the dried mud all over its rump. Look at that. Can even almost see it breathing. Look at its chest. Heaving. Very slow breaths. Such a big animal. That's so cool to see though, my goodness. Amazing to see that diaphragm expanding and contracting. Obviously, the big animals with very big lungs. Look at the size. Look at that little oxpecker just landed on its head. Little red-billed oxpecker, wiping its bill on the top of the rhino's neck. Oh, it's lying down. Cammy, you're asking if a rhino has ever chased me. Oh, there's a calf. There's a calf on the right. Just behind its mother. Look at that. It was lying down behind, using its mum as a windbreak. Oh, we didn't see it until now. How cute is that? It's peering above its mum's back. Wondering what all the fuss is about. That's too adorable. Cammy, sorry, to come back to your question. Has a rhino ever chased me? No, Cammy, I've never been chased by a rhino. Luckily. I've had an interesting encounter with a white rhino bull that refused to let us pass along the road. He was busy marking his territory, walking down the road and spraying his urine and against bushes as he went. And then he'd walk off the road and we'd try to drive around him, and whenever he did that, he would walk back into the road and then scent mark again. and then he'd walk off the road again, and again we'd try to come around him, and again he would step back into the road and scent mark. So he obviously didn't want us to bypass him. But no, I have not been chased by a rhino. That little calf, I wonder if it's going to maybe lie down again. Curiosity satisfied, having seen now what's making all the noise. But it is adorable though, seeing it, those little ears, those little eyes, and even its tiny little horn just peer over its mother's back. And this little calf is still at the age where it's going to be super curious about its surroundings. Look at it now going to investigate the other rhino. But always making sure that it's got an escape route back to mom in case it needs it. They're still at this young age when they're still going to be suckling a little bit from mom. Still very curious. Oh, look how it's putting its chin on its mom's back. Oh my goodness. That is too cute. We were talking a little bit about affection this morning between rhinos, and I suppose that's kind of the extent of it that I've witnessed between mother and calf. Will go and rest its chin on its mother or snuggle up against its mother like it's doing now. And then mom will kind of do the same by nuzzling her little one. Look at that in the front there. Oh my word, I hope you're all getting some fantastic screenshots. Look at that, it's almost like he's scratching his neck and his chest against mom's horn. And the second rhino is getting up now as well. It's going to come into shot. Look at the little calf. It's a little bit unsure of what this other rhino is doing and going forward to investigate her. No, this one's still quite curious of us. I love how, watch if she takes another step. Watch how her lips kind of wiggle around whenever she steps. Those lips are so wide and rubbery, perfect for cropping up the grass on which they feed. And so when they're kind of hanging loosely and not being used, they kind of wobble about whenever she walks. There we go. Well, now she's putting her head to the ground. Still quite curious about us. And the wind is blowing over our backs towards her, so she'll definitely be able to smell us. What a fantastic sighting this has been. I think myself and Craig are going to leave these rhinos to continue with their resting. We're going to keep on making our way in the direction of where that cheetah is.
Well, good luck with the cheetah, and maybe also good luck for myself here if these zebras will build the courage to come and cross the river. They've been playing games with us, moving from one crossing point to the other. Said earlier, the concerns or the stake of crossing this river are very high in terms of maybe a few of them not making it to the other end. Behave the way they're behaving, coming right where they are, and like the one you see there looking, you cannot know what they're looking at, but they just in their minds know that there's so much, or there's so many dangers in the water there. And number one, of course, are the crocodiles. The wildebeests the same, and very few of them will be eating at the moment, because the whole idea is for them to cross the river and just making that difficult decision. That is what we call the elephant grass. Quite rough, so either they use just to scratch their muscles there on the lips, but not actually to feed on it. Some small little antelopes, we have seen them using the same grass, marking their territories with their preorbital glands below the eyes. Not even elephants have this grass named after them. It's exactly how they behave. They get so close to the river, make a U-turn, not decided to cross. Ian, you'd like to know if it rains, they are going to cross. Ian, yes. Ian, we have seen so many crossings during the rains and very heavy rains. And apparently, Ian, if the crossing will have started before the rains, it does not stop. Actually, it gets bigger. So the rain, apparently, Ian, do not affect the crossing of these animals here. I was here in the morning and the level seems to have raised a little bit than it was earlier. Inside upstream, and I am going patiently to wait right here.
Beautiful afternoon, everyone. Back here at Djuma Private Game Reserve. As my name is Andrew, and on a camera again, to see me Mpo on camera, watching this beautiful impala, from zebra crossing to impala. Isn't that beautiful? So, impalas, all a group of them there. Looks like it's a whole lot of female. All I seen was one male that usually stick with the whole high rim, but for now I don't see him. He seems to be behind the wood. He will probably show up shortly. Work to do, in fact. So for him to make sure that a whole herd, high rims, stick around together, combine, so no one ran off away from this group. So this is his main job to do. For sure, he won't save them from dying, from getting killed by predators. Everyone would try to save their own life in this group, but again, making sure that his territory is tight enough for that no males can come in to steal one of the female. It's quite more important that he does that. That's summing up just behind the dry wood. Chris, the question. Chris, you want to know where a birth season? So, it's a good question that, in this area, Lawfeld, the whole entire Kruger National Park area. So, the wet season begin anything from November, December, and this where our impalas mainly drop their baby. The first rain in November, they drop their baby. But remember, the antelope that they so good on, they can delay give birth when there's no green. So they have ability to delay maybe another 3 weeks also or month. And then from there they will just drop. But then it means that, they don't want to waste their time giving birth. Meanwhile, there's no green. Otherwise, their baby won't get any milk from their mother. So we'll leave them shortly. Move forward, look around for anything else.
So we've just come across an amazing sight. We have decided to leave the lions, take the riverbed. We were looking for the young cubs, and then instead we came across this female with her 2 young cubs. And you can see they're way up on the bank. These little ones, this is actually the first time that they have been on the show, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that they are not too used to vehicles yet. So we're keeping our distance at this stage to slowly but surely get them used to it. So that's the mother laying up there of one of, oh, there's both of them. I hope she's not moving away. You can see there's a little bit of curiosity. And there she goes. Unfortunately, where she is, Oh, she's up the tree. Okay, that. Now, there's a good chance there might be a carcass around in this area. I haven't seen anything yet. That is absolutely amazing. Now, it would be really, really nice if we can get to see the two little ones play, or maybe climb the tree as well. You can see her tail going up and down. I think she's slightly agitated, maybe. I don't know if it's with the cubs themselves, or maybe it's just because of the heat and the flies. But in this particular part of the reserve that we are now, it is often quite tricky finding animals. There's not a lot of roads here. In fact, the riverbed itself is the only space really we can drive here. And that's what makes it so difficult to actually see this leopard. Luna, by 2 months old, leopard cubs can already climb trees. They do climb at a very, very early age. I think it depends on the little ones themselves, but they have really strong muscles from a very, very young age already. And once they get to about 2 months, 2.5 months, they're already expert climbers. In fact, better than the mother often because of their size. But all we can see now is the tail, and that's what we'll be looking out for when we drive past here. Like, you might not necessarily see the leopard itself first thing. You can see she's blending in very, very well in and amongst those trees. And it's just that tail moving. So I'm wondering, she is in a bit of a spot I don't want to move for now, just because it might spook the little ones. Although we can't see them, I'm sure they're somewhere nearby underneath where she is in the tall grass there. Maybe she just got up in that tree for a bit of a height to have a careful look. And she's been keeping these little ones in this particular part of the river, and she hasn't moved them too far from here. But what an amazing area to grow up in. You can see it's a nice steep bank. It will be difficult for larger animals to get up, and there's quite a lot of big trees around this particular part, so very, very good for them to climb. Just look at that unbelievable view.
All right, so we've just had a big herd of buffaloes that have just arrived at the dam, at Leopard Dam. On the opposite side to where Lagatha is, and Lagatha's hardly raised her head, but these buffaloes just waded right into the water and then had a bit of a drink, and now they're moving up along the wall there, as you can see, slowly moving actually towards the area where Lagatha is. Oh, the first buffalo in the line has just hurt itself. Well, it seems to be fine now. It was walking along some uneven ground and looked like it twisted its toe there a little bit. There you can see one of our eco-training vehicles full of students on an assessment drive, actually. I'm sure that student's doing very well. A lot of action on their drive. Oh, and the buffalo are now moving to drink on that side, much closer to where Lagatha is, and she's actually looking over towards them, not in a very interested sort of way, more like a board sort of way. Big herd of buffalo. I think it's the same group of buffalo that's been coming back and forward on this area of Pride Lands for a long time. There you can see Lagatha, so they're walking directly towards her. The wind is actually blowing from the buffaloes towards her. This could get really interesting. It could get real interesting to see how she reacts with this. There are a few calves with this herd of buffalo, nothing too young, and certainly with all these adults around, it would be a very, very big endeavor for her to try and attack any of these buffalo. You know how powerful they can be. Oh, they're walking straight towards where she is. This could get super interesting. I can't wait. Isn't that amazing? You see how the big buffalo bull walks at the front there. He's the pathfinder. He makes sure the area is safe for any for the youngsters and the females moving behind. A lot of other young males with them as well, which will be on the flanks, and then a lot of the old, big, strong boys at the back, bringing up the rear. So now as they get closer and closer, let's even see, do they even notice that lioness? I can feel the wind blowing, I think from the buffaloes basically towards where we are. So they certainly will smell her if they keep going closer and closer. Let's have a look. What's going to happen? Wow, they're walking straight through the water. This is amazing. There's a crossing happening right here. Who needs the Mara? I mean, I think I heard that there was some amazing crossings happening with thousands of wildebeest. That's amazing. So this is a little mini Mara. Look how deep they go into the water. Remember, the shallow... Oh, you don't get buffaloes crossing in the Mara too often, eh? So there you go. We've got something quite unique. So the buffaloes are actually wading into the deeper water, probably trying to get to stuff which is a bit cleaner, and the muddy, shallow water which has been churned up is no good, so they're trying to go deeper. Oh, the big buffaloes are starting to get closer to where she is. I just go over to where they are there, Seb. I just want to see how her head is down. She's put her head flat down. She's trying not to be noticed. I mean, she, at this stage, isn't going to hunt anything. Well, I don't know. I mean, but look at her eyes focused and her ears are down. She doesn't want to be noticed. None of the buffaloes have smelt her yet. Oh, that's so cool. There's the big buffalo with big, wide horns and a strong boss. He's got his nose in the water, though, so he can't really smell her as he's drinking there. Let's see how close they get to her without noticing her, if they notice her at all. Remember, we talked about her camouflage and how she stays very still. We know she's there, so we can spot her. But if you didn't know she was there and she lay very still like this, it could be that she remains completely undetected. The buffalo is actually looking straight towards her now. It's drinking, so it doesn't know that she's there, but it's facing towards her now. If it sees her, it will not drink. It will stand up and make a noise. So this is surely a buffalo that still has not seen this lion. She's literally about 20 meters from. Sarah, you're right. Lions do usually hunt at night. So that's why she's been inactive, because she's just waiting for, better hunting opportunities. But, if a good opportunity around calves in this group, this lioness might try and take an opportunity to hunt. But she doesn't look like she's interested right now. She just mostly wants to remain undetected, because if she gets spotted by these buffalo, they might try and chase her. This buffalo is missing a piece of its tail. Do you see that? So, Sarah, maybe lions at some point hunted at night when the buffalo couldn't see it and managed to take a bit of the tail off. Every animal is an opportunist. So that's why the lion is waiting, and that's why the buffaloes are here. Oh, but they all have stopped. Do you see that? All the buffaloes have stopped. There's a few vehicles moving around, so I think they're listening to the vehicles. But they'll do something similar when they smell or hear or see the lion. They'll stop and they'll put their heads up and they'll just wait and gather information, figure out what's going on, and then make a decision. But as of yet, she has still remained undetected. Amazing. Absolutely incredible. Kathy, that's a good question. Most animals, I did a calculation not so long ago on one of the previous safaris, and I worked out that it's about 5% of their body weight every day that an animal needs to drink, more or less. So if a buffalo is weighing, let's say a very big buffalo, about 800 kilograms, it should probably need to drink around about 40 liters of water a day. but not every buffalo weighs 800 kilograms. Most of these females might just be weighing, somewhere between 400 and 600. So it's between 20 and 30 liters, I'd suppose, a day is more or less what they want. They're feeding on the grass right at the base of this termite mound with the lioness just staying so still. I'm sure she's very confused about what to do. I mean, this is actually important for her. This is teaching her also how the wind moves, how it can affect animals' behavior, how she can stay close to animals. This is all super important. If this is Lagatha, which I think it is, she's young, so she's still learning. She's an effective hunter. She's managed to catch things on her own and she's surviving. But every time something like this happens, it improves her hunting skill just by being able to be close to these animals and avoid them and know how to stalk up to them. Still lots of buffalo heads up looking towards us, seeing us, hearing us. I mean, their hearing and sense of smell is great. Their eyesight's not amazing, but still pretty good. So that's why this lioness is staying very still. There's nothing she can do about the wind. If the wind moves, she's going to get smelt. If she makes noise, she'll get heard. But if she stays very still and everything else is in her favor, she can remain undetected. Look at that. The camera creates a bit of an optical illusion, but she's not far behind that buffalo. Probably just about 10 meters, I'd say. Maruth, that's a good question. Lions hunt in a day. I mean, as many times as they need to, I suppose. If they were extremely hungry and needed food, they would hunt the whole day, regardless of whether it was hot or cold or whatever. They need food, they would hunt. But if they're in a relatively relaxed state, let's say they've eaten something very big, like a buffalo, if this lioness killed us 3 days, 4 days maybe, and then the meat would go rotten or she would have finished it, and then she wouldn't need to eat again for maybe 4 or 5 days after that. And they can go longer without food, although then it becomes quite uncomfortable for them and unhealthy. So just once a day, but it depends how long it takes. They're very patient animals. You can see this lioness hasn't moved. So if there was, let's say, a herd of impalas, same situation, she wouldn't be afraid of them, but she'd be waiting for that right opportunity, and it might take 3 hours for the impalas to move into the right position for her to hunt. And until then, she will just stay unmoving. Explain that. They'll hunt when they need to, as long as they need to, but they've got to save energy, so they can't go running about, I think one buffalo might have just spotted her. Do you see those buffaloes standing, looking forward? Yeah, they haven't made a noise yet, but they're looking intently over there. Let's just see if they do something. Maybe they're confused. No, these animals are not, they don't have intelligence like we think of intelligence. They're instinctive. So she looked over, saw something maybe that caught her eye. It was a female. But then no more movement, and so lost interest and thought, okay, it's obviously nothing. Amazing. HB, I think most animals see in various shades. I'm not sure if colorblind is the exact term, but certainly many animals don't see in the full range of colors that we do. Some do. And primates, for example, that need to be able to see fruit being fresh and ripe. A lot of birds see an incredible array of colors because of the fruits they need to eat, and so on and so forth. And obviously birds have bright colors. It'd be pointless having bright colors if they don't see in color. But buffaloes probably do see in muted colors, so it makes the camouflage of this lioness even better. And imagine if they do see, imagine a zebra amongst all these sticks and branches. It would blend in so well. So this buffalo's obviously decided there wasn't anything there. Oh, hello. Look to the left of the mound there. Oh, yep, she's been spotted. Do you see that? One look from that big male buffalo, and she said, oh, no, I don't want this anymore. Because you see how the buffaloes have sort of moved around her. So you can see her walking off in the background there. She's not going to go too far, I don't think. It's very warm still and muggy. But she certainly moved off. She did not like that buffalo seeing her. And amazing, there was no alarm calling that happened. The buffaloes didn't alarm. They didn't freak out. I see the other buffaloes are now starting to move and follow the lioness. So they're not worried about her at all. They're not afraid of her. They haven't made any move. They didn't charge. They didn't do anything. They just saw her. She moved off. The communication was clear. The lion did not want to hunt her or hunt the buffalo, and the buffalo are not chasing her. So there's no need to waste energy here. Remember, everything's about energy. That was incredible. I'm so amazed to see how long she remained undetected with that whole herd of buffalo around, and now to see an apex predator and then one of the most powerful prey animals come close together like that and no angry sounds or nothing. Hey, it's incredible. It's so amazing to see animals. We often tell students this, we often tell people on safari, you don't have to be afraid of animals. As long as you listen and understand the communication that's happening, you can avoid all conflict, or at least most of the conflict out in the bush. As these animals have done, the lioness was there, the buffaloes wanted to drink, they saw her, she moved off, all good. Everything is fine, no need to have any major issues. So what we're going to do now is probably move around the dam and follow her to see what she's up to and get a closer look at these buffalo as well and see what else is happening. What a spectacular sighting.
Welcome back to Safari Life, Djuma Private Game Reserve again. So we have left our beautiful impalas. We're now checking quite a few waterhole around here to see if there's anything drinking. But yeah, later on, oh, that's a great daker. And it's probably ran across in front of us. So yeah, we finally gonna go check that lioness to see what she's doing, since there's nothing happening much in terms of the cats this afternoon. So this will be the plan from now on. Chris, it's a nice question that, what is my favorite leopard? So I know there's a few differences, but the Phinda Private, which is the leopard that we see around here, would be pretty much my favorite leopard. So, but not now when it comes to picking what's your favorite animals, as a guide, you finally pick something that you maybe fall a little bit and then find kind of a unique details and kind of things. So my biggest favorite animal would be impala. Then impalas, they're so good. They also since always love to get around and then make such a beautiful, as well as a zebra, giraffe, warthogs, baboons, and all of this. So the reason I love them because they love to associate with other animals. They don't really care about, they only care about whoever is dangerous, but they wouldn't care about anything that, will help them look around for predators and anything like that. So yeah, that's one of my favorite. Leopards, of course, I'll put the leopard on a leash, but, impala pretty much my favorite. So we get Treehouse Dam just to see if there's anything thirsty drinking right now. So if it's not so, we'll carry on looking around for possibly more animal just before we're going to go down to the sleeping lioness. I heard the update was that she was still sleeping, so maybe slightly later when we get there would be any movement of her. Last time when we were there we just see the ears flipping, and tall grasses around her, so there was nothing happening. Cats, they're nocturnal. Once it's dark, that's what they to move off hunting, and then it's gonna cut off my cat situation. We've got a beautiful indeed. A lot of people, they're always shocked when I told them about impala is my favorite, but sure. I don't know why I pick impala, but I find so much beautiful about them, and they lovely antelope, just the way they look, so they're so beautiful. Right. On our way down to Treehouse Dam, come across young bull elephant feeding on it, or he could hear that poor root's been pulled off. But when he looked just on the left-hand side, away from the root sticking out, which means just recently pushed that tree down. Look at that there. It looks like he's going to consume the whole wood. Well designed with a massive, strong molars that support that animal lifespan. If it's not so, of course, then they won't feed. They need them. They need these molars. And that's what keeps them alive. See, he's now chewing. But chewing, holding on, and a branch so the machine fell off. Beautiful trunk. Look at the wood is still inside that mouth. He's flapping his ears as well, or another parasite, or today is not very old, so it's good for elephants. Spend their time away from the water. Oak tree, yes, indeed. It's beautiful. There's a lot of plants, elephants out here. They're lovers, They see them in herds and herds coming down from different area, from Kruger Park, from, well, I know is one part of the area, but it seems to be a lot of combrutum, which is tree species they like most, as well as a round-leaved kit or teak, species of tree that grow around here. Grasses, sweet grasses that grow around the mound. And that's why they love so much to be around in this area. The water hole situation also, it counts, where they more likely to prefer the area where they would feed, also find water to drink. Krisha, I want to know how long elephant tusker can get. Look at them there, these are a lot shorter. So, longest tusker I ever seen was nearly 2 meter long. So that was the longest tusker of elephant I ever seen around here. Eventually that elephant was actually found dead. And politely enough that they have to wait for the carcass to rot. That's how they come back with tractor to pull it off. Came out smooth without broken, so that's how I witness the length of the tusk. Some elephants grow such a massive tusk like that. Now most of the time we don't see them. Maybe they're not around a lot. They're more in museum, which is up north most of the time. When you're lucky, you do get one. Then is the only way you can able to see or witness how long these tuskers are. Some tuskers are length enough, longer, almost to touch the ground while the elephant's standing still. They have to control their neck while they move and things like that. And remember, the tusk is so important also. to an elephant that it's a hand. Just like a hand has a trunk, which is nostrils, but also a hand, useful for the elephant. Now it takes so much longer for elephants to be able to learn to use their trunks from younger to a big animal. But once they know how to use them, it works better with the tuskers by helping the trunk. As the trunk grab all soft wood and then the tusker will touch into that. That's how you will wrap off or break off the smooth or small branches for them to feed. Such a elephant like this, elephants spend a lot of time standing up, but for that reason, sometimes if you spend long enough with them, you do see how they work their legs. So sometimes they stand 3-leg, or sorry guys, it was another vehicle viewing the same animal. So that's why he just turned around and looked at us like, oh, what's happening? But don't worry, young boy, the car's gone. Chevy, if I heard correct, Chevy or Sherry, but yeah. So in the area, elephant die in a reserve. First things, it's for the warden, the control of the park, come in to the area, survey the issue, why, what caused the death, whether shot or whether it's a natural causes, and then they still have to, write down the number or register the task, but also finally it works on where that animal died. Because, private game reserve like Sabi said, it's boundary, a lot of boundary, and then the boundary means on the other side is somebody else's property, and there is somebody's property. That way means that the elephant may die on somebody, for example, Andrew's property. And when they come and survey and found out, okay, that animal died and what causes the death doesn't matter, but the tusker is still there. They're still going to take the tusker, register them and put the number down, but they're still going to have to, they will ask me whether I need a tusker for anything like decoration or for me saying yes or no, but then they're still going to take the tusker away, put them on the locker room, wherever they are now, probably a lot of them. But yeah, that's how they do. So body will rot. But remember, pull off these tuskers. Remember, pull off these tuskers. You gotta have to wait for the animal to rot a bit, so it's easy for the tusks to pulled off smoothly. We always want to water hole, so we're gonna still continue doing that. Leave these guys alone.
So we unfortunately lost the view we had of those leopards, and making our way out of that area, we've come across another family of dwarf mongoose. Now there's quite a few. You can see they're very, very curious. At the back there's more moving. I can hear them calling each other, so I'm sure there's some off away from the termite mound as well. The direction that they're looking. So you can see some of them are sitting up higher, the rest lower down. All these air vents or tunnels, like right at the base of this termite, and that's where they'll go in. They'll more than likely spend the night within this termite mound as well. And because today was quite cloudy, even though it's humid, it's warm, Usually they gather together in the late afternoon before they settle in for the night. So that one, I guess, is kind of serving the role of a scout, so to say. How big do dwarf mongoose get? That is about the size that you see right there. That would be an adult, and then the two off on the side as well. And that's roughly between 300 and 400 grams, I'd say. But it is to say exactly how big they get. These are adults, and it's usually a family group, and then some of the younger ones that stay around, and they all cooperate together, and that's why we always see them within these little groups. And today they would have been foraging around here, and then once it gets dark, because they're so small, they move towards termite mounds and spend the night in the holes where they can be protected from potential predators. Very, very quick movements. Each time the head turns, it's an extremely quick movement, picking up on different sounds coming from all over. Now, I think they might actually be waiting. Maybe they are still waiting for one or two members that might be around. But what a fortress of safety. Carl, I'm not entirely sure I got your question correctly, but I think you asked what does these mongoose eat? And the food they eat is mainly insects, bugs, crawling insects, beetles. So when they move about through the tall grass around here, what they often do is they'll have one move ahead of the group. He kind of serves like a scout, while the rest will come and follow it in that direction, and then they'll feed spread out over a section, looking for bugs, for beetles, whatever insects they can find on the ground. They'll also go for, they primarily rats, but they will also go for any other small thing they might be able to catch. They're actually quite ferocious predators. They're also quite intelligent. You can see that one's grooming itself. I wonder if he'll start grooming the other one as well. I just saw one moving down in towards the hole. And I think what we might see from here is the rest will also start moving down to the holes of this termite mound.
I am here at Fernando. Things are quite quiet out in the bush this evening. Even Fernando is quiet. Now, I had a closer look at Fernando. And I have to confess that I think that he might actually be a she. It is true. I think the name still sticks. I really do think so. It's quite a small chameleon, Fernando is. And when they're quite small, the hemipenile bulge, which is what I'll be looking out for, can be difficult to spurs on his legs. But even that, some subspecies don't have the spurs. So for now, until there's a very obvious hemipenile bulge, I'm going to say that Fernando is still Fernando, but a her and a she and a girl. or a female. Perhaps if we... Drive monkey, you say Fernanda instead of Fernando. I still like Fernando. Thing about the word, and I can still remember when we caught it. We'll talk later. Let's go to andBeyond.
Welcome back to Safari. Just hold on a second, listen to the ground here at Djuma. What a beautiful... Indeed, I mean, it's such a surprising, you know. We're just watching that single individual young bull elephant and on our way down to the water hole. And that's how we just heard him calling on his side. Thought maybe it's good to have a look around. I was not too sure because I was driving. Wasn't able to tell whether it was a male or female that was calling, but there we go, we got him. Looks like a Walker male. That remind me of... Wow. Thanks so much. That, you know, isn't that amazing? You guys know exactly which one is which. So I wasn't too sure, but thanks. So I just remember that we left the female lying down flat. I wonder if she will be doing the same there, trying to communicate with him, or maybe able to move around because the sound, it means something for the same species that they might be around here. They might be actually pay a lot of attention to that, of him calling. It's just well camouflaged as well, so, but beautiful mane, I would say. It looks like he just heard me. So that kind of call, communication, this is all about communication, was about communication. So we just slightly western side of Treehouse Dam, our location. We could see the water from here, but you know, it's just right behind us, where we can't take you guys into to have a look. Unless maybe, I don't know, whether he drank or not yet. If he hasn't, then maybe he will lead us down there. Treehouse Dam, the location. Just gonna hold off speaking a little bit just to experience the sound. If he ever gonna make a call again. Alright, so he's not making another call, but I'm sure you will. You want to, though. The way he just stared at us like that, but not at us. He was always calling, looking at direction. And this is the direction of the single lionesses we saw. Yeah, what is that? Incredible. Indeed, it's a beautiful sound, you know. So he calls, and then you wait and listen for any response. But not yet. Any response? You know, Avoca, they all about 3 males in the group, so this kind of communication, advertising also territory also, where he's a single up there, for the others to know where he is, or the female to know where he is as well. But a lot of time what I've experienced about the lion single himself up or herself up, and once come to the rest of the pride, wherever they are, had a kill. And if it's a small kill, of course, there's no chance of saying, oh, are we here? There is no such a response. So I've seen a lion work with his experience until he locate the rest of the pride, and they're on meat, feeding. So chance of him toe. I want to know how far sound of the lion's roar can travel. So, you know, it's such a massive sound. Depending what time of the day. Usually when they make a call during the day, it's so much of an interfering, such as a bird, wind, if wind picks up. But normally when it's at night, anything from about 14, 12 kilometers away, could be even further than that if it's died quietly night. And that is the furthest of a speed of a sound can travel in this animal. So he just, now he's going to give up. Indeed, same as me. And yeah, we're just going to spend time with him just to see what he does. Of course, just put his head on the ground. All we see now, we can't see his mouth, but their eyes, ears, still visible. Mane is up there, so we got all the animal there. So we got sighting. Cats prefer to get mobile when it's again. Let's listen to that. That's what you wanted. Magnificent. Indeed, wonderful, magnificent sound that's coming out of the animal. Good thing for sure. We're in a position, at least. He's just gonna, like I say, we're not sure whether he just drank or he's been here for a long time. So, we'll stick with him for a little while, yeah? Just to see what he's going to be up to in the next few minutes. Or half an hour later again.
So, as we were driving around here in the southern part of the reserve, we came across this very large elephant pool. In fact, there's actually two here. And these. Now, this particular area that we're in now, the vegetation is different than when we go closer towards the Timbavati riverbed and on the northern side of the Timbavati riverbed. You can see a beautiful view laying at the back there. And on a clear day, we'd be able to see all the way towards the Drakensberg Mountains. Because of the dust and the humidity today, the air is a little bit foggy. And have a look, this elephant, you see his back foot, he's resting it, so that means he's very relaxed. He's found something there that he's feeding off it. Not entirely sure, it looks like it might be a raisin bush of some sorts. And see how he's feeling around. I saw this elephant had a hole in the other ear, and it's usually one of those markings that we use if we do recognize some of the elephants that do stay in the area for a while. We often recognize some of them, and we look out for things like that. You can see he's actually still eating grass, which is interesting because the grass all seem dead. Normally we'd see them eat grass more in the summertime. You can actually clearly see the elephant's eye there. That is amazing. Look at the mouth moving. And one can't help but wonder what happened to the other tusk. I also enjoy how elephants cross their legs. I certainly think that is the sure sign that the elephant is relaxed and might be spending a little bit of time feeding in that spot. We are up on a rise here, and there's a little bit of a breeze in this area. You can see the ears are still flapping. So he's definitely still trying to cool himself down. And there's a lot of flies bothering him. I can see his back's full of dust. It's amazing how long they can stand in one spot just like that to continue. Oh, there's another elephant that's just moved into the area. I think we're going to leave these two and move on from here.
Welcome back, guys. Beautiful. So, hasn't yet been any response from the other line. So, in this instance, he will be calling every now and then. So, when he calls, you can see how he just all of a sudden just cut off and listening of any response. So it's so good that, here is a two vehicle that are around, so all we just stationary, So I always say, it was a big K that find it, next to the road, otherwise I would just drove past by him, so it was very good of him. And K, thanks for this, this is such an amazing thing.
Lions calling in the evening in Africa. Couldn't ask her for better. So here we have her. This is the lioness from the dam cam. And she's actually moving towards Triple M on via tele-access basically, but just in the bush. And that's not where the Pride is. She could meet up with them, she could take a different route, but she's definitely not taking the shortest route. Let's see if we get another visual. She doesn't seem in a particular hurry either, and she would have definitely heard the calls. All right, let's just get through this little bit here. And to me, she looks like she's vanished. It's always more difficult off-roading in the darkness. I think I'm going to get back on the road and try and catch her on that side.
Welcome back to andBeyond Phinda. Have a look at all of these white rhinos that have come to investigate us in the vehicle. There's 5 of them out in this open clearing. They've been quite inquisitive. Look at that one on the right, how it's lifting its nose into the air and sniffing. I'm going to keep quiet. Just listen to the sounds they're making. Might be a little bit too quiet, but remember earlier I was talking about the big lungs on these rhinos and the sounds that they make while they're breathing. They're making quite a lot of sniffing sounds. That one in the middle there sniffing the ground, looking for any grass. A lot of animals behind them too. Oh, listen. Lots of little sounds being made, huffing sounds and snorting sounds. A whole bunch of zebra and wildebeest behind them as well. Quite an intimidating sight, having 5 white rhinos approach you in a line like that. Shame. Look at that one poop on its horn. Shame. It's obviously where an oxpecker was sitting on it earlier and then relieved itself. That's not very nice. Laura Moore, you're asking if rhinos gather together for fun. Laura Moore, typically speaking, white rhinos will come together for, I suppose, for company, for safety and numbers. They can be quite gregarious. They also get together around food resources and water resources. There is footage, though, also of black rhinos, which typically are recognized as animals that are a bit more solitary. There's footage of them gathering around waterholes at night, and the reason for that is unclear. It seems that they come together to socialize, and I suppose that could be a rhino equivalent of fun, I suppose. Just to keep you updated, myself and Craig did manage to find that female cheetah. Unfortunately, we weren't able to film there, though. She was doing very well there. She did manage to catch an impala. But yeah, I just wanted to keep you all updated on that. But a super special sighting that we've got here, though, with these rhinos. And before we continue, I just wanted to get back to Mr. X. You asked me a question this morning, and I hope that you are watching this afternoon. You asked me how long a white-backed vulture can live for. And Mr. X, I found a record of a captive-bred white-backed vulture that lived to be nearly 20 years in captivity. It was about 19 years and 8 months. That's when it died. I also found a record. I spoke earlier about bird ringing and how if you tag a bird or if you put a ring on a bird's leg, you can kind of measure, obviously, when you tag the bird, and then how many years subsequently after it you still keep seeing the bird, and that can give you an idea for the age. So there was a white-backed vulture that had 13 years between the time that it was tagged or ringed and the time that it died. So it was at least 13 years old, and that was in the wild. So yeah, Mr. X, I hope that you're watching, and I hope that I hope you're able to then hear your answer. What an absolutely special sighting it is to have these rhinos so close to us like this. But myself and Craig are probably going to leave these rhinos to continue with their evening, continue foraging, and we'll see what else we can find for you in the twilight of evening.
Get ready, bro.
IR? Just not yet. IR, not really, but just gonna go back to him there.
Anybody near cruise camp?
Look at that.
Are any stations are close to cruise camp?
Beautiful sound. Oh. There we go. Looks like he's probably had a spawn from their other pride, I think. But just sounds far away. He heard them, so... And that's why now he's not looking at us anymore. He's got probably direction of where they are. Here we go again. The way you just look around looks like it looks like he just got a visual of their rather bright, but which is not yet. The one we just heard that was far away. So we're gonna go on IR. There we go. Ooh. Look at that. But since it's got all response, so he's now deciding really whether he's going to take that chance of going or should be still waiting. But probably going to call again.
This is the ultimate.
He's up. He just walk right behind our vehicle. You know, we stick with him. We're just gonna reverse back. Looks like he's gonna try the water hole there. Looks like he's going down there, but still quite way out. If he's gonna cut off straight or avoid the dam, or we'll see from there. Just gonna go back to the road, leave him taking that shortcut.
Oh, this sounds just marvelous to have those lions. And Blondie calling us. That just sounds amazing. Here we have a mini migration happening on quarantine. They've migrated from the south where the lion was, right up here to quarantine for safety and resources, which drives the migration always. It's been a wonderful, wonderful safari with all of you. Always lovely. And these guys have now entered the darkness that has set upon Djuma. Still very, very humid, and I think tomorrow we can expect some rain. Ah, it smells like the end of the year. It really does. Well, thank you guys. It's that time where I get to say thank you very much from the bottom of our hearts for your questions, your comments, and watching as always. Enjoy the rest of your day, morning, evening, night, whatever it is, and we'll see you in the morning for Sunrise Safari. Bye for now.
This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.